Why do you have to make it so hard? God almighty. I'm sitting here trying to set this thing up. And they want you to film everything in vertical because they're trying to turn the whole world into a bunch of zombies walking around watching stuff on their phones. But I don't film in vertical. I film horizontal because I was trained. I took lessons how to film properly. And it was always in the advanced settings. I go there today. In the advanced settings, the option's gone. There's no more option in the advanced settings to switch from horizontal to vertical. God almighty. So I literally just had to do internet research to try to figure out. And it's such a new thing. It's not even on the internet. There's no videos on the internet how to switch. Well, I started backing out. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to reset my phone or something. Well, now it's on the first page. There's a little icon that shows the little vertical symbol. And if you touch the little vertical symbol, then it goes from vertical to horizontal. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks for making it easy, bud. All right, today's breakfast, pennies that they be, is brought to you by, I don't even know, brought to you by Google somehow. Oh, God. Sponsored breakfast. Come on. Skip. There we go. Brought to you by Subaru. Okay. I recently had somebody ask me about someone literally asked me in my comments to tell them exactly how much money I made. And I laughed so hard. I'm pretty sure I know what it was, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like. So the way it works in life, there's like two things you don't do. You don't ask a fat woman how much she weighs, and you don't ask somebody how much they make. Especially, you just don't, like, this is what I'll tell you. Because I'm sure you're watching, you fucking conniving person. This channel operates at a loss, okay? So if I make $1, but I had to buy $2 worth of fruit juice to make the video, that's a loss of $1. It's not, there's no income there. It's a loss. So, but I appreciate you coming by. Anywho's, welcome to the 2,000 sub celebration breakfast. God, people ask me how much money you make on YouTube. Like, I don't know who you are. That's so funny. Anyways. Yeah. So let's give the whole story. But YouTube, my channel was going real good, and then at some point a couple years ago, I was no longer able to YouTube like I used to, and my channel precipitously dropped in viewership, interactions, the monetary whatever wasn't very much, but even that dropped off a clip, and it's slowly coming back. It's taken a couple years, in case that conniving individual who's snooping into my life really wants to know what's going on. But yeah, no, it was going good, and then it just fell off a cliff. But we're clawing back into her here. We're clawing back. God almighty. Anywho's, so we're making pancakes today. Let's make some coffee first. I desperately need coffee. It's been an interesting week. I'm not going to talk about most of it because it's no one's goddamn business, but Jesus Christ, what an eye-opening experience about how incompetent the whole fucking world's becoming. Like, I'm starting my stream off in a rage because of that horizontal bullshit. Anyways, here we are, spooning beans, being calm, enjoying life. Yeah, 2,000 subs. I was pretty excited about that. I don't know why. Something about, I mean, I'm not talk about milestones in life, but like, what's the next one going to be? I guess maybe 10,000 would be like one where you'd maybe sit back and be like, whoa, 10,000 subs. I mean, I'd love to get 10,000 subs. That'd be cool. I don't really have any big plans to get 10,000 subs, but you know, I'm all for it. 100,000 obviously would be mind-boggling. 1,000,000 subs. I mean, let's be real. Is there 1,000,000 people that want to listen to what I have to say? Watch what I have to do? Maybe. You never know. So, anyways, Get this coffee going, and we'll set up some mirroring stuff and get some things going here as far as the regular. It's just that horizontal thing. It's just like, sometimes I feel like there's progress in technology for progress' sake, not for the user's sake. It's just like, I mean, don't they do beta? Like, don't they do testing? Can't you beta test stuff and then find out that, yeah, hiding the horizontal, because it was stupid. Hiding it in the advanced menu was stupid. I don't know why they did that. But they did it, and then, like, you know, I got used to it, and then, you know, then now it's not. Whatever. Let me try to mirror this up to the TV. See if I can make this work. Ooh, things just got fuzzy on the old screen. I have to reset here. We're pretty delayed. Probably gonna get another commercial brought to you by Kellogg's. Yep. Brought to you by Build Manage Now. Building your, what are we building? I gotta build some more shit. Building a business? No, eating breakfast is what I'm trying to do. Come on now. Wix. Thank you, Wix. For the 14 cents. Oh god, no, it's not gonna do it. Oh. Let's eat some grapes while we're waiting. Well, apparently I'm not able to watch my stream today. Get the spinning wheel of doom, you know. Nothing I can do about the spinning wheel of doom. 2,000 sub celebration. Yep. Hey, we're celebrating. Oh, we got cherries. Focus. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have like a delay. Welcome to my YouTube channel where things are delayed. In case you live in a delusion, you don't understand how reality works. I have put a disclaimer on my YouTube channel that all things are not reality. It's a video, bro. It's a video. Okay, we're making pancakes today. What do we need? Waffle mix, butter. Okay, pancakes. We'll do a 2-cup mix. That sounds good. Oops. Take the camera. Oh wait, 2-cup. Focus. Alright, first cup. Oh yeah, so good times. Have some grapes. These are really good grapes, by the way. So we had the solstice, which means the summer is upon us. And without missing a beat, almost instantaneously, as the seasons change from spring to summer, we just went to full summer mode. I mean, just full summer mode. We've had a couple days already where, like, the humidity and the heat have been such that, like, the sweat drips off you in rivers, not just drops, it just pours off you. I think we're in a heat advisory today, and I think it's going to be even hotter tomorrow. But it's been rainy, so whatever. I suppose if I could do anything about the weather, I wouldn't be on YouTube making breakfast right now. I'd be doing something different. All right. Tappy tap tap. I do have some good stories that I can talk about, and we'll get to those in a second. Something I got to do this week that was really cool that I had not really anticipated doing. And I try to keep innocence on this channel. I try not to out people. But, man, I can't get the Ziploc to work. Get our bags made in China. Misaligned Ziplocs to reduce the productivity of the American populace. I just film what I'm not doing, too. That's always super duper. Yeah, that zipper's not working. So this week, highlight of this week, I drove a Cybertruck this week. I swear to God, a Tesla Cybertruck. I drove one. This shit is crazy, dude. It is the most non-regular looking vehicle I've ever seen. And I've seen some weird cars. Like I've seen a Chaparral in person. If you don't know what a Chaparral is, the Chaparral was a car that was invented for like Formula One style racing, but it used a vacuum to suck the car to the ground so it could go around corners faster. Before they made a rule, it said you could have a vacuum sucking the car to the ground. A Cybertruck is more exotic and crazy looking than a Chaparral. We'll just go with a person I know bought one and was kind enough to show me the thing. And then they were kind enough to take me for a ride in the thing. And they were like, do you want to drive it? And yeah. Yes, please. I want to drive your $100,000 Cybertruck, obviously, because that's cool. And that's cool. And that's cool. So, unfortunately, the conditions were such that it had been raining and drizzling. So I did not hot rod the Cybertruck because I'm a relatively responsible adult who doesn't do irresponsible things. But the owner of the vehicle is free to do as he wished, and he gunned it a few times for me. Like did like some rolling 0 to I don't know how fast we went, but we'll leave that out of the conversation. 0 to holy shit. The acceleration of the Cybertruck is such that you could not believe it, based on how big the vehicle is. It's just so like the acceleration is linear. There's no shifting, and it's crazy. Like it's give you a thrill, accelerate, like suck your breath in. Oh, hey, what's up, Jeremy? Welcome to the stream. What are we doing? We're making pancakes. We did 2 cups. We need to get water in there. We're gonna need 1 and 1 1/3 cups. Yep, let's go. There will be a video. I did a walk around video of it, so I'll post that here and whenever I feel like posting it, because I don't post my videos whenever I don't feel like it. I didn't film us driving because generally, on occasion, when you drive a car like that, you may or may not exceed the posted whatever. So I never filmed that stuff. I mean, we didn't. We drove by the definite laws. What was kind of crazy is like I ended up having to drive in traffic and like maneuver the thing in traffic and do lane change and like fit it in spots where. The driver was like, well, let's go to the next block. And I was like, nah, I'll just signal. We'll get her over there. But, yeah, I think it's crazy because, like, it's got 4-wheel steering. All 4 tires turn on it, which is super nuts. The interior of this truck, literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, this is what the interior, like, dash consists of. A steering wheel. And then there's a touch screen. And that's it. There's not even turn signal stalks on the yoke. It's just the steering wheel. There's no clickety clackers. There's no spinny spinners. It's a steering wheel, and there's some buttons on the steering wheel, and then there's a touch screen. That's it. That's it. There ain't nothing else. It's wild. It's like the Jetsons. It's like you're driving a Jetsons vehicle, like from the future. And what's nuts is like. It looks so like a prototype, but it's a production vehicle. And it not only does it look like a prototype, it looks like a super duper crazy futuristic, like in 100 years prototype. It looks so different. It's so like in nothing I've ever, it's just like, it's so bizarre looking as far as like it being a real car prototype. And I was, I'm shooting the shit with the guy. And it's like, what's it like owning it? Like, how am I? I'm good. How are you doing? He told me a story about, like, I was like the first day he got it or whatever. And he got what's called a Founders Edition, which is like some of the very first ones that came out. Like the pre-order, the first, like, I mean, I'm just talking out my mouth right here because, like, I don't know the numbers, but it's like the first certain thousands, whatever that number was, from the very first one to a number they predicted or predetermined, and then that stopped. Those were called Founder Editions, and he got a Founders Edition, and that, I think that entitled him to like free internet connectivity for the lifetime of the owning of the vehicle, and like some sort of free music streaming service they provide. So like, he's like, yeah, I got all the music, and I was like, you got all this? So I was like, well, let's do some 311, because like when I was growing up, this guy's like a year older than I am. We went to high school together. It's like, dude, we should listen to 311. 311, boop, came up, hit it. Just there's 311. Rocky turned it up. The system's like just rocking, just like big bass. Just like, Jesus, I think it's awesome. I'm assuming it connected to Starlink, probably, if I had to guess. I don't really know. And then you got like a charger, quick charger and everything. He was still carrying it in the trunk of the thing because he already had it hooked up at his house. Because this is his, I don't know how many Teslas he's had at this point. He had a Tesla Plaid for a while, and he let me drive that one. And it was dry conditions, and he let me accelerate that on a. Let's say we went to a private racetrack near where I live, and I got to do some 0 to 60s, and that shit was goddamn insane. I mean, nothing. I know people with nice cars, and I got news for you. Your car, but it doesn't even matter what you drive, ain't got shit on a Tesla Plaid. Sorry. Doesn't matter who you are, what you own, what you drive, what it's got. Nothing. You got nothing. You got nothing on a Tesla Plaid and on the acceleration. It is goddamn insane. Anyways, I don't know how different I guess truth be told, when we drove that Tesla Plaid to the quote unquote test track, I had like there was 5 adults in that car too, which would like slow it down quite a bit. Gosh, that fucking Cybertruck, it just ripped. It was like, Barr! It's just like, oh my, I mean, it didn't make that sound, but it just, I guess I never really thought about, ooh, it's going to be a fast vehicle. I mean, we were talking about it because like right now I'm smiling. When I think about driving that Tesla Plaid, I smile. Like I have a smile on my face because it was so crazy. So we were talking about like, oh, how's it compared? He's like, dude, this thing goes. He said he was having problems with that Plaid with people like wanting to street race him. And I was like, well, you didn't do that. He's like, well, it's hard. You got all these assholes always just jockeying with you. He said one time he had some dipshit pull up next to him. And in the story, obviously, no posted speed limits were violated, obviously. But basically, the dude was like revving his engine at him in an old shitty truck or whatever, or maybe it's a new shitty truck, some sort of truck. They went, he accelerated, the truck accelerated, he got out in front of the truck, he put the brakes on, he stopped, full stop. The truck caught him, he accelerated, they kept going, he got in front of the truck, he stopped, full stop, like full stop, parked. Then the truck caught up to him, and then he went in and he dusted. That's how fast that car was. Like, so think about that. A pickup truck accelerating as hard as it can. This guy was like full goes, gets so far, stops, the guy catches up, goes again, full stop, catches up, go. It's just like, it's not even like the human brain can't comprehend the speeds that the things do accelerate. It's just like, it's crazy. I mean, I did an amusement park ride in St. Louis, I believe it was. It was a roller coaster that started you off like this, and it went like extraordinarily fast on the flat ground. Then it just went straight vertical. That's all it did. They made me take my earrings out because they're like, oh, the G forces on the acceleration are such, you got to take your earrings out. And I wear these like studded loops, or I'd never taken them out before. And I was just like, oh man, I hope I can get it back in. That's the only thing I can accelerate or describe that acceleration being similar as is the roller coaster ride. It's just like, whoa. I'm trying to think what else was cool on it. So what else is weird about it is just like the the body is just sheet metal. It's stainless steel sheet metal, and it's not like how a car that you typically would see sheet metal. Like usually a car, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's more like, well, it's car-like. Just go out in your car and look at every corner or sheet metal joint by a window or anywhere it terminates. And on this, it's just sheet metal. Like it's an exoskeleton that hangs off the frame. I guess is the I can't even really truly describe it because it's like, once again, like nothing I've ever seen before. Like it's like nothing I've ever seen before. Ah, screw it. We're just gonna make the pancakes with the metal one. It'll be fine. It'll clean. But that was probably highlight stuff for the week. I mean, that was pretty cool. I've only seen one so far. Someone on the highway once driving by in the opposite direction. So, like, you know, does that count? Well, I mean, if it was a Bigfoot sighting, it'd count. You know, if you see a Bigfoot going the other way, it still counts. So yeah, it counted. I saw it. Whatever. All right, we're gonna do shallow fried pancakes. So that's gonna require a little oil. Put a little oil on here. Not a lot, just a little dollop. Definitely not hot enough. That's a fail. Got a little frizzle frazzle going. It's all right. It's only the first pancake. Everybody calm down. My butter extruder is in desperate need of a proper cleansing, so we're just going to use the old highly regarded, based on views, butter extruding, scraping, whatever the hell you call this thing, and a recently removed from the refrigerator salted stick of butter. We're going to give it the old, the classic. We do have some juice to make. I probably should have made the juice first. Why did I do that? Got so excited to talk about the Cybertruck and how cool that was, because that was cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell. So he got the thing. It was brand new, and I'm not gonna like fault the Cybertruck, but like it's a brand new vehicle. I can't remember how many he said had been sold in the state that he lived in. It was like less than 5. He might have been the 4th one. I don't really know for sure. Doesn't matter. Very new though. He got it like, you know, basically as soon as they were available, he got one. And as with all new things, there's hiccups. So like he had gotten it. He went and picked somebody up and taken it for like, you know, let's drive the new car. Let's see what it's like. And they were driving along, and some sort of error popped up from the software. I really don't know what it was. He really didn't want to. Or he didn't take. He just said it. The car told him to pull over at the first convenient spot because something had to be reset or something. Anyways, well, the first spot to turn in was a Walmart. So here he is with a brand new Cybertruck, like so new that like no one even knows they're out yet. Pulls into the parking lot because the car is having some sort of a reset issue or whatever. Well, no one in the parking lot knows why he's pulled over. They just know there's a goddamn car from the future sitting there. He said he drew a crowd of like 100 people just crowding around the thing. So there's this guy. He just got this brand new vehicle that he paid a lot for, right? And it's having some sort of issue. And now he's in a Walmart parking lot with a mob of people around him. That's a true story. You know, I asked him, like, when you come out after parking, are there handprints on it? And he's like, oh, yeah, there's always handprints on it. Because it's stainless steel, so, like, I mean, the dude did me a solid because of the drizzle. He really wasn't going to drive it that day because it's just, like, the car is stainless. Like, do you own a stainless piece of anything? Like a refrigerator or a stove or anything? You know how hard it is to keep that clean? Yeah, try a whole car. But, you know, old buddies wash the cars for you, I guess. I told him, I was like, don't worry about it. If you don't want to wash that thing. He said, no. Take a look at that thing. I was like, let's go. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm just going to turn that off for 1 second because we're going to make some juice here. Good pancake. Well, maybe we'll eat a pancake first since it's going to probably taste better, not cold. So yeah, that was pretty fun. But yeah, he says there's always handprints on it, which is kind of crazy because like I know a guy who is an older gentleman, and back in the good old days, this guy I know who's an older gentleman in his early 20s had managed to start a business and become successful enough in his endeavors to purchase at the time what was a brand new 1963, I believe. Is it 3? I don't remember. Don't comment if you know. It doesn't matter. 63, I believe, because that was the year they had the split back Corvette. He bought a brand new one in his early 20s. And what's crazy is he could have bought the split back, which is like one of the most iconic Corvettes in the history of Corvettes. And when I talked to him about it, he's like, "Oh, that thing weighed a lot more," because he was street racing his. But anyways, that 63 was so exotic looking and so crazy that he was constantly having people touch it when he parked it. It always had fingerprints on it, he said. Every time he'd park that car, someone would touch it, no matter where he parked it. Almost to the point where if he parked it in his garage, he'd come out the next morning, there'd be fingerprints on it. And that has to do with like super exotic stuff that people, I don't want to call people normal, but things that normal people can't ever achieve or get because of the way it's so exotic or expensive, that they'll just like touch it so they can like be with it, I guess is the best way. I mean, I've done the same thing. And then you go to like these crazy car races, or there's these multi-million dollar race cars. Yeah, they put ropes around that shit. But some car races, they like the fans, so like the IMSA racing, like the Le Mans style, some of those guys aren't quite as assholey, so like I've literally gotten in a multi-million dollar race car after joking with the pit crew. Could a guy of my body shape fit in that thing? And the answer was, nope, but you could try. And like, I got in, I almost didn't get out. I almost couldn't get out of that goddamn car. And then I got grease all over my pants because the steering wheel comes off and it's greased. And I was like, holy shit, I got $1 million race car grease on my pants. I'm never washing these pants again. And they thought that was pretty funny. $1 million race car grease all over my white pants. Or my tan pants, I guess. I was good with it. Like we went to a race one time in was it Wisconsin? And with that racing, it was more. I mean, there was a NASCAR race there, which was like the most pretentious goddamn shit I'd ever seen in my life. I'm not sure which is worse, the NASCAR racing or the NASCAR fans, but like, I guess the thing that I remember the most is like the idea of like racing fans going to a race weekend. You know, they did the NASCAR qualifying, and then as soon as that was over, immediately following the NASCAR qualifying, there was a series that ran like Bentleys, Ferraris, Lambos, Audis, all these like super high-end crazy cars. And then like you could just watch the NASCAR fans just walking away, and it's like, you're not actually a race fan. I mean, if you're sitting there in a seat and the next race coming up in minutes is going to be high-performance race car Bentleys, Ferraris, Lambos, Corvettes, all that crazy exotic stuff, and your response is to walk away because you're done. It's like, dude, you're not even a race fan. Like, you're a, I don't even know what the word is. Like, you're just there because of the idea of the other. It's just like, what? And then, like, you had to pay to, like, look at a car or whatever. And then juxtapose, you go to the pits from the other races. I actually held the hood up for a team because a dude was working on a car and he was having problems keeping the hood up. I was like, I'll hold that hood for you. And I'm thinking, my God, I'm holding a race car hood for a mechanic as he's working on something. Like, it was the craziest shit ever. Craziest shit. Whatever. Enough of me crying about NASCAR fans. It ended up being a really good race because the track was it wasn't an oval. Which I've been to an oval racetrack before. Oh God, talk about the most boring shit ever. Went to an Indy race on an oval track, an oval IndyCar race. Talk about trying not to fall asleep. I mean, the only thing that like kept me interested is the chance that some dude was going to crash and hit the wall, but nobody really did. But what was cool about that NASCAR race was the conditions were, how would you describe those? It got a little wet that day. A little rain came through, and it was one of these types of rains where like it was raining on part of the track, but it was sunny on another part of the track. So like they didn't call the race off. It's like well, you know. It's still kind of nice over here. I don't have enough water. I gotta make a little water real quick. Hold, please. So they let them race. Well, the I don't want to insult NASCAR, but like generally speaking, NASCAR would never stoop to foul weather racing. Because the race had started and because a certain percentage of the track had not been affected, the race continued. Well, they were, then you could hear the announcers talking. It's like, all right, they got to make decisions. Like, do you run the rain tires because of the part that's wet? Because the rain tires are shit on dry. But the regular tires are shit in the rain. And then all of a sudden, one particular driver started working his way to the front. And they're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so. He's the only guy out here who has any wet weather track experience. None of the other racers had ever raced in wet conditions. And this guy was making everybody else look foolish. It was crazy. And then what was also kind of cool as the weather event happened like beginning middle of the race, right? So the conditions were improving as the race went on, right? Which then you really got to see pit strategy. Because, there is pit strategy in any race, but, pit strategy in a race where all conditions are equal is just kind of like we're all doing the same strategy, right? Does that make sense? A pit strategy with adverse weather conditions, that's real. There's real strategy involved. There's real things happening. Let's get this thing back warmed up. Regular pit strategy is like, well, how many laps before we take a pit break? It's not like, is the car going to be controllable sooner than the other guys could if we do tire swap now, or when do we tire swap? And it was a great race. It ended up being a really good, fun watching race. Oh, that's terrible pour. Terrible pour. Good thing I had my stain prevention towel down for the white counter stain causing juice. Oh no. All right, what other interesting things? So I got in talking about NASCAR. How that happened. Sorry, I'm gathering my thoughts. Sometimes when thoughts must be gathered. make some more pancakes. Woo! Knock the camera over. Pouring the juice left-handed. There's a distinct possibility. Yeah, no, that's never even thought about that. Rotational strength isn't what it used to be. I guess is the best way we'll sum that little whatever up. Okay. No juice was no countertops were harmed in the spilling of that juice. It's fine. Okay. I feel the heat coming off the old pan there. We got the shimmy and the oil. Let's deploy the yeah. So that little bit of oil, you get that crispy edge, and I'm telling you kids, that's where it's at. So there's a process that happens to. Well, this would be me turning into the science part of the show here. Like the sugars and the carbohydrates, they caramelize. Technically, it happens with meat as well. It's called a Maillard effect. It's the browning of things, like the browning of bread, the browning of meat when you cook it. And that Maillard effect, the chemicals and the structure of the thing that you're changing, it completely reorients the whole thing. That's why it tastes so good. That's why toasted bread or the outside of the bread is so yummy. And that's why people like browned meat, like grilled meat. So you're getting a little extra Maillard effect. The pancake turns pancake cooked color. That is also a Maillard effect, but the more you do it, the more it intensifies. And then at some point, it goes over the threshold, becomes charred, I guess. That's my interpretation of a YouTube video I watched once. Because everybody knows YouTube is the arbiter of reality. Yep, sure is. I'm trying to think. There's something else I was going to talk about. I can't remember what it was. Pretty sure I talked last week about the dude jumping out in the traffic and almost getting his head knocked off by the bumper. Like, that was crazy. What was this week's traffic madness? They're still working on that road next to me when they're putting this alternating stop sign bullshit up. I caught it the first time because I didn't know it was there. The second time, I drove around because, I'm not going to go through that. Third time, I forgot it was there, coming back, got caught by it. Fourth time, I looked, and it was I think I still see it up there, so I went around. I don't know. Eventually, you could see, well, it's not there anymore, because you can see, a quarter mile down. I'm oh, they're done. Drive down there. No, they just moved it, got caught by it again. God almighty. I'm just avoiding that whole area from now on. Just not even going to drive over there. Watched a truck go through. So you're alternating. Our side, your side. Our side, your side. I don't know if the truck missed his turn somehow. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, this truck goes through. And for whatever reason, I don't know, someone behind the truck decided, well, I'm just going to follow the truck because I'm a sociopath and I don't follow social norms and traffic's of the rule because, most likely their mother and father told them they were special and somehow that sunk in. I don't really even know. And that person didn't follow the alternating traffic rule. That upset me. I was a little upset by that. That doesn't seem fair. I'm all about being fair in life. And if you're not alternating traffic, you're not being fair to others. So I assume something terrible is going to happen to that person at some point in their life because of the fact they didn't alternate at the stop sign when I was waiting. How else can it work, right? I mean, otherwise there's no justice in the world. I don't really know what they're doing on that road. They took a cement saw and they cut, 4 miles of a single line 2 feet from the curb. I assume they're keeping the curb. That's the only thing I can come up with. or keeping the curb. Which is really weird because, like, in my town, it always seems like they put the shitty road in shittily, and then the shitty road just gets shittier with time. And then once the shitty road that was put in shittily gets so shitty, they cap it with asphalt. That's usually what they do. Then you have a shitty road with a shitty cap of asphalt for a few more years. And then all that shitty asphalt starts crumbling out and shit. But I remember as a kid watching the roads just, like, the curbs just get smaller and smaller. So basically, they just fill the road with whatever they can find, and then eventually the road's the height of the curbs. And they can't go any higher because then you're falling into the yards. And then at that point, they either, well, sometimes they just rip some of that shit back out. Ooh, yeah, extra my yard on that one. Spicy. Sometimes they'll just come back through and, like, rip a bunch of those layers out, and then, yeah, like, that happens. But it looks like they're about to just, like, completely tear the whole road out and replace it is what it looks like they're going to do. And they're going to leave the curbs. But this section of road's never been filled in. It's all full height. I don't know, whatever. After watching the road construction project in my neighborhood, I've come to the conclusion that I am no expert on road construction, because to be an expert in road construction, you must be incompetent and not know what the hell you're doing, because that's all I saw was incompetency and not knowing. But somehow, through all the incompetency and not knowing, they managed to, like, somehow, I don't even know. They did it. I mean, I went to the meetings, I looked at the blueprints, I understand the design, and I watched them do it wrong. I pointed it out to the people who should have it pointed out to them so they could hold them accountable. And I just got told, no, they did it. And I would say, well, I've got a video of them doing it wrong. Do you want a copy of it? No, because that would mean they'd have to tear it out. I really don't want them to have to tear it out, so we're just going to leave it. Turn it off. So crazy is what they took the guardrails down on the curve. And when I inquired, are you going to put the guardrails up? They said, no. We don't need to put the guardrails up because there's 8 feet of grass before the pit starts. I was like, you're going to kill somebody. Somebody will drive into that creek. Like, you need to put a guardrail up. There's a reason there's a guardrail in front of that creek. There's a reason. The road goes straight in. It curves. Oh, yeah. The dude drove straight into it this winter. The whole neighborhood come out. One neighbor was screaming, get a lawyer, sue the city. I'm not making that up. It's like, they took that guardrail down. It's not safe. Sue them. Get a lawyer. And I was like, man, that's not a bad idea, because that obviously isn't safe. Because what had happened, it snowed a really slick layer. The dude was just driving at regular speed, and the road was so slick that he couldn't make the curve because they hadn't treated the road yet, because that road was brand new and they weren't salting it. So when he put his brakes on, they were analog, which means no brakes, and he just went whoop over the curb, over the 8 feet, and straight plunged in. Wild. Where a guardrail would have protected that from happening. It was just like, what the hell, man? They spent more money tearing concrete out than they would have put a guardrail in. Whatever. I'm sure it's harder than it looks. Let's try a couple of these cherries. So I'll have to tell a cherry story. We'll just use the word relatives. I had a relative when this relative was a small individual. They were eating cherries with their father, and the little wee one popped the old cherry and started chewing along. Had consumed the cherry and then asked for another one, and it was like, whoa, you got to spit the pit out, because like there was It was all gone. Took another one, popped it in the mouth, ate it, consumed the whole thing. The adult was like, started freaking out. You gotta spit the pit out. You gotta spit the pit out. Well, the person, the individual, was of an age where the word pit had never been introduced to this individual, and they didn't know what pit meant. You gotta spit the pit out. And I think finally, another individual had the forethought to say the stone. Spit the stone out, and the wee one instantly spit the pit out. How funny is that? Probably lucky he didn't grow a tree in his belly. For some reason, I always think of that story when I eat cherries. I don't know why. You gotta spit the pit out. What? You gotta spit the pit out, huh? The stone. Spit the stone out. Well, speaking of spitting, one of the things I realize makes me an old person officially is there's a video of a inebriated blonde girl on a video talking about spitting on someone's dick, I think is what she was referred to. And she called it the old hot tui. And for some reason, that is like supposedly the greatest internet video on the internet as I'm making breakfast right now. And I'm thinking, man, I remember hearing about it when I was growing up, how at some point you just weren't going to relate with the previous generations. Well, I've achieved it. I'm no longer able to understand what the young people are doing. I just can't do it. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. That's not particularly funny. I've seen way funnier shit in my life that was actually funny. Yeah, no, it's a brave new world we live in, that's for sure. Like, I truly feel what's happening is it's, we're living in the age where things are being proclaimed to be the thing to watch, whether they are or not. And because of the proclamation, it drives some organic traffic to it. Most likely to distract from reality, if I had to guess. Because there always has to be something that's trending or there to distract. And when the important shit becomes the things that people are paying attention to, you can absolutely guarantee there's going to be a full-fledged distraction campaign. What was it? Well, I know what I was going to talk about. This was kind of crazy. So, like, I saw a video that a guy was talking about the ancient archaeological site in Turkey called Göbekli Tepe, which is like the #1 archaeological site on the planet Earth based on the fact that it's so old it shouldn't exist. I think it's like between 10 and 12,000 years old. And there's these giant monoliths, carved monoliths, not just stones in the ground like poking out. These are carved by a fairly competent stone carver, because the way that in the manner they're carved, they're not. The images aren't scratched into the stone. The images are a surface of the stone, and then all the surface around the image has been reliefed back in. It's a much harder way to carve. And they depict birds and scenes and animals and all sorts of other stuff. And the site was hand buried. It wasn't buried in a natural disaster. Human beings buried this thing. Like it was built, they used it, and then they buried it. And then now they found it in 1995 it was discovered. And like, it's so old, it takes basically all of known history, and it's like, well, we got to write new history now. Like everything we knew as human beings, we have to rewrite it because this changes the whole thing. Because there was no such thing as people carving stones 12,000 years ago. It didn't exist. Now it does. And generally, the ability to do that doesn't happen in 45 minutes. Like it takes it back even farther because you had to have precursors to that. Well, this video I saw was talking about the fact that there's a rumor that they discovered a pillar and there was a picture of a boat on one of the pillars. So they were like, no. This is all allegedly. Nope, we can't have people floating in boats 12,000 years ago. That absolutely can't happen. Because that'll really change history, right? So the internet rumor is they buried it instantly, reburied it. And we're not supposed to know about it, not supposed to talk about it. So people started looking into, like, what's going on there? Like, who's in charge, all this. And it turns out that Göbekli Tepe has been converted into a tourist site where there's no real excavation happening anymore. They got the main large pit, they put a roof over it, and you can walk around and look inside. But they did ground penetrating radar, and they determined that's only 5% of the site that's been, only 5% of it. And like the guy that made the video, he went back and he found some articles, and they're basically saying we're not even going to dig the rest out. We're going to leave the rest of the discoveries for future generations. And right now, we're just going to try to make some money off tourism on the pit we already have going. Which has got a lot of people asking, like, well, wait a second. This is the biggest discovery involving humankind ever to be discovered. Why wouldn't we focus on finding out more, learning more? They're like, no, we're not interested. It's like, well, what's there's an agenda now. Like, holy cow, an agenda about not wanting the history of mankind being known. It's just like, it's so nuts. Well, it turns out the World Economic Forum is in charge of a lot of the goings on there at that site, which is like, ooh, God, what's the point of that? That's where the rumor, like the boat thing. It just so happens, and I'm not a huge believer in any of this stuff, but it just so happens that the Göbekli Tepe site is located in Turkey, in the region of where historically Noah, from the Noah's Ark boat story, where the boat landed. Like, it's the same area. So, like, there's people saying, well, maybe there's descriptions in these carvings that we're not allowed to see that are describing things that have been passed down historically in stories and made it into the Bible potentially. I don't really know. Never seen it, don't know. But it's just like, whoa, that's crazy. I guess referring to a big flood event, a population depleting flood event. I mean, there's a guy named Graham Hancock. He's got a theory on all that, involving the time frame known as the Younger Dryas era, where there's geological evidence of a giant flood. I think the assumption with that is like maybe some sort of like comet or something hit the Earth, causing the ice caps to melt very rapidly because of the extra heat put in the atmosphere. It was about 12,000 years ago, roughly, based on like ice core samples and the erosion. I mean, it's far beyond my ability to chat about, but it's interesting. Like, I asked some people about it the other day, and their answer was, we never heard of it. Which I found fascinating because, like, I mean, ask anybody, have you heard of Stonehenge? And everyone's like, oh yeah, I've heard of Stonehenge. Well, Stonehenge is nothing. Stonehenge is a bunch of garbage that fell over, a bunch of just rocks, compared to Göbekli Tepe. There's not even a carving at Stonehenge. It's just like some rocks. And everybody knows about that shit. And that's just like brand new, basically. Was that 4,000 years old or 5,000 years old, allegedly? Which that led me to another video I watched, right? This gets crazy. So, like, back in, like, the 50s, I think it was the 50s, they went into Stonehenge and they rebuilt it. Does everybody know this? They rebuilt it. They took the stones down, fixed a bunch of stuff, reset them back up, real similar like they were. I never knew that. Makes you wonder, like, how many times, and then, like, what? Whatever. And the reason I know they did is I've seen there was like in the video I watched photos. You can see photographs. You can see photos of how it was when photography was invented, and you can see photographs of how it is now after they fixed it. You can see photographs of them dumping concrete around. It's just like, well, I mean, I'm not a Stonehenge expert, but I kind of always thought that was just how it looked after being up for 5,000 years. But no, they rebuilt some of it. And it's like, well, if you're going to rebuild part of it, why don't you rebuild the whole goddamn thing? Just build a Stonehenge. Like, just because we're alive right now does not mean you're not part of the time frame of human beings. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I think the main thing they did, there was one of the set of pillars had fallen over, and they definitely set that up, put the capstone back on that, but it's like, whatever. I guess it's just they give the impression of that's how it's always been. It's like, well, that's not true. Like one of the first photographs ever taken was at Stonehenge, and it shows one stone at a completely leaning angle, leaning against other ones, and now that stone's not even anywhere to be seen anywhere. And it's like, well, where'd that thing go? I guess that came up because like some protesters went to Stonehenge over the week. That's what it was. Like they allowed people in line or whatever you do when you go to be a tourist with these big giant color spraying devices or whatever. So now the rumor is like, was that staged by the powers that be? Because, you know, the people running the show are so, they're all in on like completely change the economy to apparently a battery base. I have no idea. They must own battery companies or something. I just roll my eyes. Started thinking I'm gonna have to get a dash camera. God Almighty, I've been watching these YouTube shorts, and the shit that I'm starting to see that's happening is just like, dude, I gotta get a dash cam. Like, watched a video of a cop walking up to a guy's car and throwing drugs right in the back seat, and the guy's like, "What are you doing?" And the cop's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I just filmed you doing that." It's like, "Film me doing what?" He's like, "You just threw something in my back seat." He's like, "No, I didn't." "Hey, what's in your back seat?" Like, I watched that video. It's like, that cop just walked up, threw drugs in the dude's back seat. He just walked up and threw him in. It's like, "Hey, what's that?" Because when you go to court, the cop said that was in the back seat, and then you go to jail for like years. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I just watched that video. I watched a video the other day of a police officer driving down the road in the right lane and just make a hard left and get T-boned by a regular person who's just minding their business. And then the cop claimed, "I had my lights on, I was responding to a call, you hit me," and the city sent the private citizen the bill to repair the cop car. Thousands of dollars. But the guy had a dash cam. So he just went in and showed him the video. They're like, "Oh, well, I guess we're not going to charge you the thousands of dollars to repair the cop car because the cop broke the law, lied, and then did a false claim, and the city made a false claim against." "Yeah, but you had it on video, so I guess, oh, never mind." That's what they said. "Oops, I guess, never mind." It's just like, what the holy hell, dude? It's so crazy. I've been watching videos of cops pulling people over, making proclamations, and then the person saying, "Well, officer, I've got a dash cam that shows everything." And then they're like, "Oh, well, now I'm pulling you over for this." Like one of them was like, "We pulled you over because you were on your phone." And the guy's like, "Well, I can't be on my phone. My phone's up here on the dash recording right now." "Oh, I must have misseen." So at that point, the traffic interaction should be over because the thing the cop thought he was doing couldn't happen. So there's like, "Well, you were speeding." And then the guy's like, "But you told me you pulled me over for holding a cell phone. Now you're telling me I'm speeding? How fast was I going, sir?" And then it was like, and the guy's like, "Well, my camera records speed, so how fast was I going, sir?" And it's just like, oh, dude, like, how many thousands of people every day are getting screwed over because they ain't got their shit on video? Like, it's so wild. Like, I never knew how bad it actually was. They're just making shit up. Like, literally just making shit up. And then it's like, "But I got it on video." "Oh, well, now that you mentioned it." I mean, just what is it? Lying liars telling lies? Is that whatever? It's so bonkers. It's so bonkers to think about how long regular people have just been getting abused by authorities. Because and I don't really understand this one. I mean, I do, because like the people in charge have the law enforcement there is you know, the law enforcement's there to protect the people in charge. I got some bad news for everybody. So therefore, the people in charge make sure that everybody understands that law enforcement is infallible, because the law enforcement's there to protect the people in charge. When in reality, law enforcement's there to collect taxes to fund the people in charge. That's how it appears to me. And they can do whatever the hell they want, lie about anything they want, do whatever they want, and then if it's bad, then oh, that's pretty bad. It's just like okay. It's just like I don't know. Like there was one the other day. Cop gets out of a car, smoking a cigarette, and the guy's like, "Are you supposed to be smoking inside, public-owned police vehicles?" And him and his partner tried to arrest the guy because he asked him, "Are you supposed to be smoking inside publicly owned police vehicles?" Which the answer is no. It's just like, what? I don't know what the other just absolutely crazy what I could have seen. I don't know the whole story behind it, but there's some sort of like court case going right now. I don't know if the guy's a rapper, or they call him Young Thug or something. I don't know. But like, I'm not even making this shit up at all. So this video from the courtroom, the defense attorney's speaking to the judge. He's like, "I was told that you had a private meeting with the prosecutor, with witnesses, yourself, and some other people, and you didn't invite the defense to the thing, which is literally illegal. Literally illegal." And he calls the judge out about it. And the judge's response was, "I'm going to give you 5 minutes to tell me who told you that." And it's like, wait a second. You just literally broke the law. You should be held in contempt. Probably the judge should be disbarred, actually, because what he did is absolutely 100% illegal. Like they use the words, "Oh, he's breaking the rules." It's like, no, you're breaking the law. And it's like, what the hell? Ended up hauling that lawyer to jail because the lawyer wouldn't tell the judge who told him that they were doing illegal shit. Like grounds for everything, like all dismissal, everything, completely illegal shit. I'm starting to think that judge might be done. I saw a follow-up video to it where they had another attorney come in and she read in the riot act. And you could just see on the judge's face, oh shit. Because he keeps on focused on who ratted me out. And it's like, he's worried about who he's going to take down for ratting him. And it's like, oh god, dude, that's our judicial system now. The funny thing on that one was, the judge was, "Tell me who told you that." And then the lawyer's response was, "You should have told me that. You should have instantly left the situation because you should have instantly known what you were doing was a crime." So wild. It's so wild. It's like, there's like no regard for, oh, ain't looking good. It's not looking good. It's like people are going to start seeing that shit and they're going to like, wait a second, now our judges aren't even going to be up to the task of not breaking the laws? Like, it really makes like littering not seem like that big of a deal when you got judges that are breaking the law to put people in jail. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. Not sure if I'm too worried about making a full stop at a stop sign anymore, potentially. You know what I mean? Just like, just the corruption, just bonkers. It's so bonkers. And then there's all those regular suckers out there just trying to do shit the right way. Whatever. Trying to think what else amazing's happened this week. Oh, we've gone past the hour. We're gonna finish cooking these pancakes up, eat them for snacks later probably. Let me do a little reverse camera action here. Hey, you looking at my cabinets? Bunch of weirdos. Just staring into a person's cabinets. I tell you. Alright, well, it's going to be a bajillion degrees today, so God, I don't really want to go outside. I have to turn my air conditioner off when I film because it's so loud, so I got to turn my air conditioner on here pretty quick. Try to think, it's kind of funny. You'll see the video here coming out in like, I don't know, a week or two, but I received a package the other day that I was extraordinarily excited to get. So extraordinarily excited to get, I didn't have time to come into the house and properly take the humidity down and the heat. I just wanted to get this thing open and I wanted to get it filmed for the channel. So like there's a video coming out in like a week or two where like you can literally watch me in real time sweat through my shirt in like just minutes. It was so hot in my house. Because it wasn't that hot when I left that day and I didn't didn't check the weather. I didn't realize it was going to turn into like, I don't even know what it turned into. A sauna. Like just the conditions outside were just saunified. So I set the lights up, set the camera up, took my shirt off that I was sweated through and put a new shirt on. I was like, check this out. And I do that on video and like you just see like the glistening sweat all over me and my shirt sweating through. Oh, it's just the stupidest shit ever. But I just couldn't wait. I didn't even really want to wait to put the lights up, to be honest with you. I just wanted to open that goddamn package up and see what was inside. But yeah, that'll be here in a couple weeks. I'm pretty excited about that. Sorry, the video will be posted in a couple weeks probably. We'll see. Give or take. You never know. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. The 2,000 subs, That's 202, not 42. Kind of fun. Kind of a milestone, I guess. Oops, film that. Hey, you're looking at my cabinet. I thought I closed them all. We'll see what happens. I need to get views need to pick up was what I really need. But the 2,000 subs, love that. Thanks for subbing. If you subbed, if you haven't subbed, I can't make you do anything. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. Hey, thanks. Doesn't cost you anything. Whatever. I'm not gonna beg. But it's slowly starting to pick up traction again. I fell off a cliff for a while there where I was losing subs and everything was just garbage because there was no good content coming out because I couldn't make any. But we're starting to come back. Things are getting a little bit back to how they were, you know. So appreciate everybody that stuck with me. If you're new, welcome. If you're old, thank you. If you're none of those things, do what you got to do. Enjoy your week. Try to stay hydrated. It's supposed to be a scorcher. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but we'll get it sorted out. Peace. Stay safe.